Is it happening? Ah! Okay, Mike, play the intro.
It's Social Pulse Weekly, brought to you by Agorapulse. With this week's special guest, Erin King. Discussing this week's hottest topics and latest developments in social media marketing. With your host, Jennifer Watson. Here's Social Pulse Weekly.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Social Pulse Weekly. Happy Friday and happy mid-May. I actually had to think about that for a second. It's mid-May. It's been like 2 months, I feel like, since all of this kind of really started. And actually, it's been 2 months since we had our amazing guest on the show. She was actually on a panel, and it was the first kind of panel show that we discussed the coronavirus and everything going on. But we're excited to have her back to talk about some different things and ways. Started with that. Thank you so much for joining this show. This is your all-in-one social media show where we have an expert interview every single week. We talk about the latest news and have a little fun trivia at the end where you can win an Agorapulse mug or t-shirt, your choice. Now, we want to know who you are and where you're joining us from and something positive that has happened to you this week. So let us know what amazing thing has happened or maybe what you're looking forward to this weekend. But we're excited that you're spending part of your Friday with us. So welcome to the show, everyone. And a big shout out to our show sponsor, Mike Gingrich. He's incredible and amazing. If you don't know him, you should. He is one of the kindest people that I've ever met. Basically, he's a life and talent management coach. He's involved with leadership. He's a business coach, an author, a speaker, a blogger, a runner, and a triathlete. Guys, if you want a running buddy, he is the buddy for you. It's amazing how fast and how far he can run. He's also the author of many books, including his most recent one, Making the Miles Count. It looks at how to live a life of purpose and impact. And you can check it out for 4 days. You can see the first 4 days for free. So definitely check that out. Mike, thank you so much for being our show sponsor, for joining us, and actually for sharing and providing some of your insight as well. Now, without further ado, our amazing show guest is Erin Gargan King. So you guys, if you haven't seen her speak on stage, and unfortunately right now during this time, you probably won't get a chance to for the next little bit, but she is incredible. She is a powerhouse. She brings the energy. You ask Erin to do something and she will get it done. So we have obviously the amazing Erin Gargan King. So basically you need to ask yourself, do you wish you knew exactly how to communicate more compellingly in today's digital age? We all do, right? And Erin has all the answers. So basically she's helped clients from the Academy Awards to the United States Navy show up more powerfully from behind the screen using her award-winning pub method, which she's going to talk to us about today. She's also a best-selling author of Digital Persuasion and started her first 2 companies, Jump Digital Media and PMS.com, before the age of 30. I'm 37, so I'm a little bit behind her starting my companies. I'm going to get there. She is the founder of Socialite Agency and a social media firm, which is a social media firm featured in Forbes. She competed in the World Irish Dancing Championships and played NCAA Division I lacrosse. I also played lacrosse in college, club lacrosse, not quite as awesome as you, but nothing has toughened up today's communication expert like being a proud survivor of countless bachelorette parties, guys, from Las Vegas to Nantucket. I love this intro, guys. Like when I first read this, I was like, this is the most awesome intro ever. So please join me in welcoming the amazing Erin Gargan King from Laguna Beach and a retired maid of honor. So Erin, welcome to the show. I just have to say, when I was looking for your bio and your intro, I was just like, I read through it and I was like, this is amazing. This is truly awesome. And it's unique and it's you, Erin. It's totally you. It's not anyone else but you. And I absolutely love that. So Erin, thanks for kicking off the show amazingly. How are you?
Doing great. That intro actually is tied to my opening story where I say, have you ever either attended or been a part of, at a major degree, a bachelor or bachelorette party? And everyone raises their hand. And I tell a story of planning my sister's my 25-year-old sister's bachelorette party last year. And there's a couple lessons in that story that I'll save for maybe later. But ultimately, the point of the story is that we don't type like we talk, and there can be a lot of things lost in translation. So that's why the intro.
My God, I totally get that, because I've planned different bachelorette parties and other things too. And you guys, really quick, why Erin is so awesome. I went to visit her. I flew out last year to visit her, and we went surfing for the first time. I did. Erin is a well-known surfer. She knows how to do it. A well-seasoned surfer. And me, I've never been on a surfboard. We did a couple quick, jumping up, I don't even know, getting in the stance. And then we ran out there, and like, I literally was so hesitant. It was like so smooth. There were no waves. It was like, Jen, why aren't you coming? And then we finally got out there, and I freaked out past the waves. Okay. And I kept on paddling farther and farther out until Erin's like, Jen, the lifeguards are going to come and save us. You have to come back. Like, you can't do that. And I made it through. But Erin is the one that coached me through that. And she's going to coach us through a lot of different things. And really quick, though, I want to give a shout out to Nazim from Italy, who's joining us. I think it's in the evening. So cheers to you. Hopefully have a drink. We've got Brian Fanzo in the house. I kind of know him. We have a Facebook user. You guys, if you see us on a different in the Facebook group, make sure to give StreamYard access to you, or tell them your name so I can actually see who it is. But we got someone from St. Louis cleaning out my daughter's apartment after graduating college in Tennessee so she can get married next month. Wow. Congratulations to her. That's awesome. Juan Santiago, so great seeing you. Hopefully you've had a great week. Obviously we have Mike in the house. So Erin, let's get to it and just tell us a little bit of how you became so badass and started 2 companies before the age of 30, and kind of how you got to where you are right now.
Sure. Well, first I want to sort of tell my version of the surfing story, if you don't mind, because I don't totally agree with your version. So for those of you watching, the actual story that happened was that Jen and Brian were visiting us out in California, and Jen did play lacrosse. So I figured she's a lacrosse gal. She's tough. She can take a little bit of a challenge. So we went out surfing at this monster break. This is not a beginner break. This is a break that you will see on television with Kelly Slater in the lineup, okay? So we paddle out, and it was pretty flat, but then this huge set came through. And Jen ultimately had 2 choices at that moment. She could panic, or she could get her shit. No, you did not. At first you panicked, but then you took the second option, which was that you calmed yourself down. You forced your brain to override that panic knee-jerk reaction, and you breathed, and you made it through the set. And I'll never forget being out there with you and telling you, look, here's the deal. Even though these waves are big, and even though this ocean is crazy, your surfboard floats. Your surfboard will always find the oxygen. Attached to that surfboard is a leash, and that leash is attached to your ankle. And so if you find yourself underwater, you touch that leash, you pull up, you'll find your board, and you'll find the oxygen. And once you knew that there was a way to survive it, you calmed down, you were tough as hell, and the set did not last forever. And just like this pandemic, where we have waves and waves of the stock market's up and the stock market's down, and the vaccines tomorrow, and now the cases are peaking. And all of these waves and waves of news, they're not going to be forever. They are going to pass, and we are going to survive. We can kind of anchor on the fact that whatever you're doing in your business, you have a surfboard that is connected to your ankle. You have a leash that will provide you the oxygen. You will make it through this pandemic. You will make it through these crazy waves, no matter how insane they are. And the bottom line is that you have a choice. And just like Jen chose to face the fear, face it head on, she chose ultimately to fight through. And guess what? She got off that beach, she survived, and she was tougher and better for it. Just like we all will be with this crazy time.
Erin, can I be your new lead story when you start, like, we can speak at events again? talk about that? Because your analogies, there was like nonstop analogies during that whole thing.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I just did my email marketing blast this week, and it was all about the fact that when surfers are held under from cleanup sets, they know if they fight and they try to struggle that they'll drown. So really smart surfers know to just conserve their oxygen and let themselves be tossed around by the waves. And I think that the scariest thing in this time for everyone has been the fact that people aren't even panicked about the virus itself. It's more that we've had this Wizard of Oz curtain pulled back, and it's revealed to us that we don't have as much control as we think over anything. And that's really what's driving a lot of the panic and a lot of the emotions people are feeling right now. And what's great about Agorapulse, which my agency has used for years, we started using Agorapulse when it first came out, long before I knew you. And Agorapulse, yeah. And what Agorapulse does is it brings some organization to the chaos of the social media landscape. It brings some organization to the digital frothy ocean of madness. And that's why everyone likes to lean on softwares and platforms and processes and procedures like these. And they're great and we need them. However, when things like this happen and we are being held under by a wave and we are starting to panic about what's it going to look like and all the things we can't control, we have to just take a deep breath. We have to let the waves do their thing and know that the set's not going to last forever. And that everything you're doing right now in your social media toolkit, instead of stressing out and freaking out about, well, when is this going to be able to happen and when, and trying to force these answers that none of us can know right now. I don't know about y'all, but it's my first pandemic, first timer. I don't know if anyone else's first timer as well. But, it's one of those things where when you look at what you're managing day to day with social media, you have some kind of a surfboard. You have some kind of a leash attached to a surfboard, which attaches to oxygen, which attaches to survival. Now, for you, that might be the fact that, like Brian always says, every single day you decide you're going to push the damn button. Every single day you decide that you are going to show up as strongly as you can as a human being who is sensitive and empathetic to your environment. That might be that you're deciding that for you right now, you're just going to profile TBTs left and right, the good times, and focus on the way things used to be to bring some joy and light and some hope into the everyday for your community. Whatever your surfboard looks like, now is the time to anchor onto it because the set's not over yet, but it will be. So that was the analogy I wanted to share with you because you were very brave, long story long.
Oh my God, Erin, I love it. And I love you. So thank you so much. And when we were out there, Erin was like, Jen, pretend you're at the spa, just relax for a minute, which is going to tie into something new and exciting that you're starting to do as well. But before we get into that, I would love to know, and I've heard some of this, but you've worked with the Academy Awards. You worked with the U.S. Navy.
I forgot to tell my story.
Yes, definitely. I would love to know, and I think everyone would love to know kind of what you did and maybe what you learned from that process or taught them.
Sure. So I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, from the East Coast originally. And I was working for a local television station, my first job out of college. Picture Anchorman meets The Wire. Okay. So Baltimore is like the murder capital of the world. Go O's. Love it. But it's a little dodgy. And then Anchorman. So it was like, you worked at the Weather Channel. So sort of like the news station kind of environment. So my job was to sell local television advertising to everyone random in Baltimore City. Dentists, doctors, realtors, car dealerships, you name it. So I was driving around trying to sling PowerPoints saying, buy my airtime. We created these super cheesy commercials. And if I didn't sell, I didn't eat. So it was really good training for all the sales training, all the sales strategies you could ever imagine. So this was in the old days. So I called the entire Baltimore City phone book from A to Z. And I had to call about 100 people to get one appointment. I had to do about 10 appointments to get 5 people to get a second meeting. And then one of them would buy. So it was tough. Now, I worked my butt off. And at the end of the year, we basically were up against promotions against our coworkers. And so one of my coworkers was this guy named James. Now, I had way more sales than James, but James played golf with the boys club. So when it came time for the promotion, it was me versus him, and whoever got the promotion would get a base salary plus commission. I don't know why we couldn't both get it, but we couldn't. And so who do you think got the promotion? James. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, I was 23, 24 years old, and I realized that I felt like it was a lot riskier to let someone else dictate what my life was going to look like. It was riskier to put my success and my trajectory into someone else's hands. And so I made the jump. Now I decided to start my own company. Now I wish the story said that I started my own company and then I was Mark Zuckerberg and I was a billionaire. False, not the story. So I made the jump, started my first company called Jump Digital Media. We built websites. After a year, I had to close the whole thing down because I didn't know anything about business. I was a horrible money manager. And basically, I had just like leapt before I looked. Ultimately, I jumped out of the plane like all great entrepreneurs do and build the parachute on the way down, but I didn't build it in time, so I splattered on the ground. So I went back to get a job. I ran social media for an early days LinkedIn, actually, for the trade show industry, and I got a ton of experience. Then I ran social media for a Fortune 100 company called Auction.com. I started the social media program there, which was very cutting edge at the time. This is probably 10 years ago, and learned a lot about working at a huge company. And then from there, once I had dug out of my debt that I incurred from my first venture, I started a second venture called PMS.com. Let that one land for a second. For the dudes on the call, you might want to put some earmuffs on. I started a Dollar Shave Club for tampon delivery. Yep. Raised capital. We got 20,000 women to sign up. We were featured in Forbes. I was not a good CEO. I was dealing with FDA and Chinese shipping regulations and how to build an e-commerce platform. And it was crazy. So after about probably a year and a half, we found out that the URL, the 3-letter URL, was more valuable than the company itself. So sold the URL, broke even, and was kind of like back to square one after all this work. What I did discover in that experience with PMS.com, even though I was a crappy CEO, I was really good at building social media communities. So my PMS.com Facebook community, which you can still see, had the internet's largest collection of talk about women's time of the month. Jokes, connecting, laughing, crying, humor. There were posts that had millions of impressions. And it became sort of this little world that I created. And I thought, well, I can do that. I'm good at creating social media communities. That's cool. So I had someone hire me to start using my techniques from PMS.com to help them with they had a camera brand. And that was my first client for Socialite Agency at my kitchen table. So from that one client, I grew the company over the last 10 years to running social media strategy for the world's largest events. So the Oscars, Fashion Week, Nelson Mandela's Legacy of Hope Foundation. We've worked with all these big brands, Visa, Siemens, Hitachi, Target, Johnson & Johnson, on and on and on, but all around their trade shows and conventions. And so we were kind of like journalists. And if you're watching this and you are thinking about creating your own social media venture, I will tell you the most important thing that I did was to figure out what type of social media I was for. So I honed in on not just doing social for everyone, branding, influencers, reputation management, all these things. I said, look, we are the only agency in the world that specializes just in social media for live events. And that's how things took off. So we honed in on our niche. And if people said, hey, will you run our social media year round on a retainer? I said, nope. And I passed the contracts to buddies of mine that did that. And by doing that, my agency exploded because we were the people that had an actual specialized strategy for just live events. Now, what happened with that was we were running social media for Hitachi Healthcare. So we were talking social media for radiology, which you would think would be like, are people even on social media? But turns out they're all about looking at pictures because the radiology is all about images of the body. So they're all over Instagram. So we launched this crazy campaign, and Professional Convention Management Association, PCMA, named us the best social media campaign a couple of years ago, not just for the meetings, and not just for healthcare, not just for radiology, but for the entire meetings industry. And so what that triggered, long story long, is one day we were running social media. We were in Vegas. I don't know if you guys know, there's like a car show. It's called SEMA. It's like 140,000 gearheads that play with cars in Vegas. And we were running social media for SEMA and Apex. And the meeting planner came over to me and she was bawling, crying. She was freaking out because her social media speaker had canceled at the last minute. So she had 300 people in a breakout room that needed to hear about social media. And she was like, will you go in there? And will you just tell them what you do for us and how you do what you do? And I was like, oh my God, kill me. This is my nightmare. So, but it's your client, right? So you'll do anything for your client. Can I get an amen in the chat box for that? So went up and just shared my story, shared our strategies, and had 5-6 people afterwards say, hey, will you come talk to our sales organizations, our marketing organizations? What do you charge? I'm like, you can get paid to speak. My husband would pay me to shut up. This is crazy. And my speaking career was born, which parlayed into my book, Digital Persuasion, which parlayed into meeting Brian and ultimately meeting you. So that is my story, friends.
Erin, I love you. I just think you're amazing. And I don't know, your energy and your brilliance. Like, I love your whole history. And I think it's fascinating. And I love the fact that you were courageous enough to be like, you know what, I'm going to start my own companies. Because so many people have grand ideas and plans and never take that step forward. And I love the fact that you did that, you learned, and you kept pushing forward. Like, I think that's amazing. And so many people love you. Brian's like, Erin is a rock star. Deb Mitchell loves your approach. Brad Friedman, wow, what a background. Amy Eram, love the success story for niching down, which is so true. Because the thing is, like, I even brainstorm with Brian sometimes, and Brian's like, Jen, you're too wide. You know, you got to just find your niche. I think that's what people struggle with. And they're just like, and we talked about last week, you know, I remember getting older and I was like, you know, telling my mom, I'm like, I feel like my friend group is getting smaller. And she's like, no, you're just keeping the ones that really matter. And that's the truth. You know,
yes,
when
Mama Watson.
Yes, yeah, Mama Watson, yes.
True.
And she usually watches these shows too. But she doesn't comment or anything. She commented once, I think, because I called her out. But Angela, thank you so much for joining us. You're in the group too. And anyone else who's here, thank you guys. We appreciate you being here. So, Erin, I want to talk about digital persuasion.
Okay.
And a couple of things in your book. So you talk about the 2.5 second reply or ignore test, and also how to apply psychology to trigger emotions in your recipients and probably making content more memorable. So can you elaborate on both of those things?
Yes. So this morning, okay, so Brian's going to hate this if he's watching this, but LinkedIn is not my favorite platform. And I know that Brian preaches how incredible it is. And I know people love LinkedIn. And I always hate on LinkedIn. I don't know why. I just do. And so I had read an article from one of our friends the other day, Jay Bear, and I'm like, fine, I'm going to go into LinkedIn. So I went in today and I had literally 300 plus messages in my inbox. It took me 2 hours to go through these messages. And the crazy thing is, you know, when you see the little preview of the message in your phone, every single preview the whole way down my screen looked exactly the same. Every single person was like, hi, I hope you're well, or I hope you're safe. I wanted to reach out because blah, blah, blah. Every single preview in my entire inbox, if I hadn't opened into any of them, they all looked the same. Now, thank goodness I did, because I actually found 2 leads in all the crap. But the problem is, in 2.5 seconds, in that little moment of just scanning through my inbox, my brain, psychologically, all of our brains, think of how you go through your email. In literally moments, you are deciding care, don't care, important, not important, friend or foe. And so we're just fighting this inbox battle. I'll show you right now. This is how stressed out I get about my emails. So this is my message count right now, unopened.
Oh, that's how I am. I'm exactly the same way, Erin.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So we pay taxes. We don't regift. We're not bad humans, but it's really overwhelming to tread inbox water. And so the 2.5 second rule that I teach to my clients, my workshops, my audiences, is all about the fact that the first 10 words of anything that you are creating, whether it's a caption, whether it's a live, whether it's your email, whether it's your outreach, the first 10 words matter most. And I will tell you, I have trained global sales organizations. I have trained Siemens and Hitachi and all these crazy big companies. And what I teach all of them is that the quality of your message, opening with something personal that shows you actually took the time to look someone up, to Google them before you reach out to them. They found that although they're only sending out about half as many messages, they're getting anywhere from 3 to 5 times the responses back on platforms like LinkedIn by simply personalizing the first 10 words. Something simple. Like for me, I mean, people read my book and they'll reach out to me and say, Irish dancing, or go Terps, or love Laguna Beach, or they'll just put something random at the very beginning, so that in that 2.5 second preview, immediately they stand out from that horrible noise that I had to battle through this morning, that we all have to battle through. And by the way, we're nobody. Imagine like the big CEOs of like big companies that get 5 times that volume. So if you're trying to break through, those first 10 words are the make or break between being answered or being ignored. So I talk a lot about how you can be personal and that open. And look, if someone reaches out to me and says, Jackson Hole, love the series Lonesome Dove, which someone did. It gets me at least to click, at least stops my scroll and gets me to open it. Doesn't make us best friends, but at least it has them standing out from the same old crap that sounds exactly the same as anybody else. So if you want to digitally differentiate yourself on these outbound messages, first 10 words are the most important to at least get to that next level, which is just even having someone open it as opposed to delete it.
And you know what? I have noticed that too, Erin. So don't I do like LinkedIn. Brian is all in on LinkedIn, and
I know. I'm sorry, Brian.
I do love you, Brian.
He
We love you, Brian.
He just said I'm not much of an influencer. My digital twin and partner aren't influenced by my advice. Brian, we love your advice. If I swear, I say, as my friend Brian Fanzo says, push the damn button at least once a day. So I quote you all the time, buddy. Don't take it personally.
I know. I love Brian. It's Brian, we love you. We think you're amazing. But and LinkedIn is so amazing in so many different ways. But again, I've gotten the same message, and I'm like, with this automated stuff, and I'm just like, guys, let's do something better. I know you're capable of that. So we need to improve that. Now, Erin, let's talk about your pub method.
Yep.
I want to know about your pub method and how marketers and we can kind of utilize that during this time and moving forward.
Okay, so we all know that we don't type like we talk. That's pretty obvious. We all know, and the story super quick from the beginning of this conversation was when I was planning my sister's bachelorette party, I basically almost got overtaken like Helen versus Annie bridesmaid style by this one gal. She tried to hijack the group email as we were planning this Nash bash for my sister. And she and I were like, bah, 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 in this email chain. Turns out we get to Nashville, we do a few shots of tequila, and we become like best friends. She's like my favorite person in the whole bridal party. So that's the short version of the story. I really drag it out on stage and tell a lot more of the details of the bachelorette party. But it's one of those examples of, we don't type like we talk. And oftentimes we don't get the chance to look at someone in the eye, to win them over with who we are. Oftentimes we are stuck behind the screen, and the screen scrambles our humanity. The screen scrambles our emotion, our empathy. And so how we approach it and how we think about the way that every time our fingers touch a keyboard, are we showing up as our best selves or not, is super important now more than ever. So my pub method is very simple. It's basically the fact that, if you think of what gets someone to say yes to you, it's, persuasion's personal. We all know that. We have to be able to see ourselves and our needs and our wants in order to be swayed to say yes to something. So, for example, if I had all of us take out our phones right now and take a selfie, we would all start laughing and it'd be kind of fun. And oh my gosh, are you wearing your pajamas? You put your face on, whatever. We love seeing ourselves in focus. That's why social media is so narcissistic, because we love taking 1,000 photos, but getting our skinniest angle, right? And then sharing it to the world to get those likes. It is narcissism to the max, and it's fun and it's normal and it's human. Okay. However, the problem is, how many times have you been on vacation where you see someone taking a selfie, maybe one of those death-defying, dangerous selfies, like a tourist, where you're like, is that person going to be one of the 350 selfie deaths? Which, by the way, that's a real stat per year, because they're getting so close to the edge, right, with the selfie stick, and you're like, why? So how many times have you got up to that tourist and been like, excuse me, sir, we don't know each other, and I've never seen you before, but can I just see how good you look in that selfie? No, we have never done that, ever. Because the truth is that we only care about something from someone we don't know when we are in focus, when we are in the selfie. And so when you look at a group photo, the first person that we see is ourselves, right? Obviously, like the first person you look at is, how do I look? My mom just put out a Christmas card 2 years ago. Literally everyone in my family, I have a huge Irish Catholic family, everyone looks like shit except for her. She looks amazing. And we're like, Mom, are you serious with this Christmas card? She's like, what? She didn't even look. Everybody else. Now, my mom's a great person. She's lovely. I don't mean to trash her, but it's just a normal reaction. So the thing to know about all of that is that when you are trying to persuade someone that you don't know from behind a screen to care about you, to listen to your story, to give you a chance, you got to make sure they're in focus. Because you can post about you and post selfies all day, and your mom and your friends and your boyfriend and your husband and your cousins, your crew, your sphere of influence, your same 100, 200 people are going to love you. They're going to be like, yes, girl, get it. But people that don't know you, how you get out beyond that existing sphere of influence takes a totally different approach. And that's where the pub method comes into play. So the pub method was developed after I had my agency, Socialite. We were in Laguna Beach. and we lost our biggest client that was worth 70% of our revenue. So it's a company whose card you likely have in your wallet right now. Now, I'd had a couple of mentors advise me to put all my eggs in one big basket, but I was 28. So do you think I listened? Nope. So I found myself with only 30% of the original revenue, with payroll and an office and all kinds of really stressful situations. So I started spraying and praying, copy and paste crap, trying to play the numbers game, sending out messages, trying to get people to respond and hire my agency. And my response rate was horrible, just because I was basically being one of those people in my inbox and LinkedIn. And so I'll never forget, it was a Friday, and I had to make the decision of the next week. I had to either fire everybody and bail on this lease of this big, beautiful building, or I was going to have to find a client like yesterday. So I poured a huge glass of really cheap wine and felt sorry for myself. And I started to go through my old emails. And I realized that before I even knew it, I saw one of the emails said, Hitachi Healthcare, there is an update to the API. And now they're one of our few remaining clients. So it got my attention. So I opened this email, and this guy was talking all about this API change that was going to change how our scheduled posts went out on the, and this is like 7 years ago, how our scheduled posts went out on behalf of our client. And it was a small tweak. It was a small update that we didn't know about. And so we made the update, and luckily nothing went wrong with our client's campaign. But had we not, we would have had another client probably in jeopardy who had hired us to manage their social media. So this guy saved our butts. Now, who do you think he worked for? Well, he worked for a Arrival software. We weren't using Agorapulse at the time. We were using, I can't say the name, but a different one. And so he worked for Arrival software, and he brought us in. And I said, hey, tell me more. We ended up hiring him to help us, not with that particular thing, but with something else, a different feature of his platform. And later, when all was said and done, I thought, now this guy reached out to me and got my attention. He got me to say yes. And I started going through my emails, and I'm looking at all these pitches I get all day long. And I'm like, let me see who I answered and who I ignored. And I went through like 3,000 emails over the course of like 2 months, went through everything. And I started documenting this pattern of what the messages had in common that I actually answered. And that's what created the pub method. So I found that every single message had 3 things in common. It opened with something personal. It offered something actually useful, meaning it saved me time, money, pain, headache, whatever. And they kept it super brief, less than a scroll. They didn't go on and on with the great wall of text in my face, just going on about them and on and on and on. It was personal. It was useful. It was brief. It was simple. So I started using the same method. And using that method is how I got the Oscars to give us the chance to run social media for them, which we did. And that one client made my agency explode. We got tons of new clients, and everything in my life pretty much changed from this method. So I teach this personal, useful, brief method, and you can use it for your lives. You can use it for your texts. You can use it for your captions, your posts. And it's just a quick little reminder to close that gap between online you and offline you. Because we're not bad people behind screens. It's just because we can't see someone. There's a delay. We can't see their physical reaction. So we become a little bit more self-centered versions of ourselves. We talk about ourselves about twice as much online as we do offline. And that's why we're a lot more persuasive offline than we are online. But it doesn't have to be that way. And so the pub method helps you to kind of close that gap, amp up your persuasion power, and show up more like the person that you are when you're in the real world.
Erin, and I love like the whole story, how you brought it all together. And it's really smart. And the fact that you took that time to go back through and look at why, and what made you. And so I think it's amazing. And, a lot of us either don't have the time or don't want to take the time to do that, but you'll actually learn a lot from that. Kind of like similar to the fact that I rewatch every live show I do. I usually have a watch party, but it's because I don't like watching myself, but you learn different things, what works, what doesn't work. And it's so important to learn, like never stop learning. So Erin, thank you so much for that. And we are about to bring Scott Ayres, our content scientist, on the show. But really quick, Erin, I would love for you to share, because you create amazing content. What are your top 3 either productivity or content creation apps, tools that you use that help save you time and could help out other agencies and other social media managers?
Well, I'm a Canva Pro diehard, big time. I love me some Canva Pro. I use a bunch of different apps. I mean, it's funny when I'm doing brand management, I love scheduled content. I think Agorapulse and platforms like that are so important. I mean, you have to have a game plan, you have to have a strategy. I've also found that in these times, my agency is scheduling content not much further out than a few days, only because the landscape is changing so quickly, and the likelihood of possibly sharing or posting something that inadvertently strikes the wrong chord or is irrelevant or insensitive in some way is just, the risk level there is so much higher because there's so much uncertainty. And so we use Agorapulse, which we love, and I'm not not sponsored, but I love it. I love Canva Pro. I love Agorapulse. Who else do I use for my apps? I use a bunch of different apps.
By the way, Angela loves Canva too.
Which one?
Angela loves Canva too. We're all huge Canva people.
Yeah, Canva Pro is awesome. I use just screen record. I do a lot of screen recording of stuff and cutting it up because I'm lazy and I don't feel like downloading it and doing all the stuff. So I'll just screen record and slap on a filter and call it a day. So so I think that there's so many. I use #expert for my hashtag discovery. So yeah, I mean, there's so many great apps out there. I mean, I like all the ones that make you look hotter are great. I use those ones. I use Visco. I'll admit it. So yeah, there's a lot of great apps out there. But I really do think that the most important thing, more so than the app, is not only functionality, but thinking about your formatting, thinking about can your audience see themselves in your content? Can they see are they walking in your shoes? Is it relevant to them? And particularly these days when emotions are running so high, I mean, this is a new normal, requires a completely new playbook. It really does. I mean, what worked then does not work now, full stop. And so looking at that, as you basically have two choices. I mean, you can either wait, you can wait until this is over, you can wait till things get better, you can wait till someone else tries something, so you can cobble together a best practice in a pandemic, which does not exist. You can wait and wait and wait, or you can choose to create. You can create a new routine, a new playbook, a new mentality, a new strategy, a new approach, and be brave enough to dive in, because those are really the two options that you have. I mean, I have a lot of clients right now that are paralyzed, not knowing what to post appropriately in a pandemic. And the answer is that what's appropriate is for you to create as best you can, knowing that some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it because emotions are high. But as long as you're showing up as your true, authentic self, and you're not trying to bullshit people with the same phrases of stay safe, we're worried about you, we're here for you. As long as you're not being like every other commercial with the sad music and the empty streets, you'll be able to differentiate yourself and stand out, and you will build those relationships that will pay off when all of this kind of sorts itself out. So that's my soapbox.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that so much. And Erin, Brian made a good point. You do a great job of upcycling your live video content. And so everyone check out Erin's Instagram stories. She does a phenomenal job with them. And it's something where, people sometimes get stressed about thinking about stories. It takes them a lot of time, but you do it amazingly well. And also take a look at Erin's Instagram posts. They're from the heart, they're meaningful, and just read through them and see how personable and relatable she is, because they are all so powerful. And we shared, big shout out to basically our community manager, Deb Mitchell, our show sponsor, Mike Gingrich, and also Mike Alton, who is our producer, because they're just pushing out all the links and doing everything. And so we love you guys. Now we are going to Erin. Are you ready to meet our content scientist? Do you know our content scientist? Since you've been here, around here from the beginning, he's about to join us. It's Scott Ayres. And we are going to talk about the fact that, I don't know if you do this, Erin, but we've been boosting our live videos for replays after the fact. And so actually, which is a little tip that I've been doing, you can't boost during a live through desktop, but you can on a mobile phone. So a lot of times when they pull you full screen, our producer, I'm on my phone quickly boosting it, boosting the live while I'm listening to you. So Scott Ayres, look at Scott.
Hey.
Scott's like, this is true. And so that was part of our strategy. And so we did an experiment around that, or basically Scott looked at all the data and saw, is this worth it or not? And so we're going to talk about that right now really quick. So Scott, take it away.
Yeah, I like the Erin. I like the "Don't wait, create." That should be like hashtag "Don't wait, create." That's a pretty good little mantra there. So yeah, it's nice to meet you virtually here. Yeah, so I mean, what we did, I mean, and I would ask you this, Jennifer, because here's what happened with this. Jennifer was boosting, I think, the first few episodes of Social Pulse Weekly, and I was kind of noticing her numbers, because we have our live show, the Social Media Lab, a few days before every week, and I was like, man, what is she doing with this? This is kind of interesting. So I kept watching it, and then I decided to boost some of our live shows just to kind of see if we would get similar sort of data from it. And so, Jennifer, I'm curious. I'm going to ask. I'm putting you on the spot here.
Okay.
I hope that's okay. What was your goal when you boosted the live video, the replay?
So basically the goal was to reach a larger audience, to get more awareness. And actually it did, because when we looked at the stats, you can look at the 3-second video plays, but that doesn't really tell you much, because even someone scrolling with their thumb and maybe they paused looking at something else, and somehow it automatically played 3 seconds. And I was trying to garner more people watching a minute or more. And a lot of times, same with that though, people could watch only a couple minutes and not the whole thing. But what the main thing was trying to get awareness of the show. We were doing something new. Now, what we changed was the first 3 to 4 months, we boosted it, but I created a very niche specific tailored audience, and kind of anybody who had prior watched our social media lab shows or Social Pulse Weekly, I created a separate audience for that I boosted to because I figured those are the people that will be interested in watching it. And so that was kind of the strategy we went about, and we did get results. We got a lot more views, but yeah.
I just want, I never asked you that actually, so I probably should have asked you that before.
Everyone, that's why I did that.
Yeah, I think it's good though, and I think that's the ultimate goal. Is you wanted more brand awareness, you wanted more, views, and the only bad thing is, and what we, with Facebook, with all their stats they give out for videos, they'll show you got 10,000 views, but like you said, it's that 3-second view is what they're counting, which on an hour-long live video show, is that 3 seconds really that valuable? I wish they would give you a little bit better view count number, like, hey, they watched 25% of it, or something like that. And so what we did is we started boosting our shows, and then I started looking at the data to kind of compare. First, for me, what I like to look at on live video is that peak viewer number. I want to see how many people I could get all at one time to watch the show, and that's we've had our show before, we get over 200, 220 or so peak live viewers, and that's like, yes, I can't believe we got this many. And so we kind of wanted to look and see if boosting it was worth the money or not. And so for me, I want engagement on a live video. I think right now, like in the comments, that's like so valuable. Because people are seeing that, their friends are seeing it. People's friends don't see it; they just watch the video. They don't know. But we want people to comment and engage on a live video. And so when I was looking at the boost replay, for me to kind of make some sort of conclusion, my hypothesis was that boosting a Facebook live video replay does not result in any sort of engagement, doesn't bring on any more engagement. So that's kind of what I looked at it through, was through that sort of lens to kind of see, can I get more engagement by boosting it? Not just the 1-minute views or what they call through plays. Facebook gives you you can scroll down here in that post there. Facebook will give you a what they call a through play number, which on a boost. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice suddenly. It'll give you through play, and what through play is that means they watch 15 seconds, and it's like, okay, again, 15 seconds of a 1-hour show is not that much. And I wish they would measure that a little bit differently inside of the Facebook stats. And so what we did is we looked at peak live viewers. We looked at engagement, and we looked at those 1-minute views to kind of determine, what we got from it. And when we got all said and done, and I'm looking at the numbers on another screen as well, so forgive me for looking over. We got a lot more impressions. So that reach was about 171% higher when we used the boosted post compared to organic reach. So we got in front of a lot more audience. So that brand awareness side of it is massive. And we were spending on average like about 143 a video is what it came out to be between the Social Pulse show and the Social Media Lab show. And we looked at 9 lives from each of those. So the reach was great, and we got in front of a lot more people. So we got that brand recognition. I mean, my hair shows up pretty easily on screen and all the images, and so that's really helpful from that side of it. Through plays were massive. We got almost like 94,000 through plays through all of our live videos, and like 480,000 3-second views through the boosting the live videos. The downside of it is, out of all 18 of those videos we looked at, we got 24 comments, 27 shares, and only 10 link clicks. So the engagement did not happen in the replays, which if you've done live video before, most of us probably know that people may watch most of your video on the replay, but they don't engage typically. They have a really hard time because they're not active with the viewers. They're not active with the host. And so that was kind of an interesting thing for me because, I was looking at engagement as a reason for me to keep boosting, our live videos. I'm saying that they didn't, and it was kind of a little bit of maybe save your money. Maybe it's not worth boosting it after all. Maybe we can boost something else that drives better traffic and drives better engagement onto a post. And so I'm curious if everybody who's watching, if you've boosted your live videos. I know Brad Friedman is talking here, and Mike Gingrich, they do live videos. I'm kind of curious what sort of results, if you've got similar results, like you get more engagement. I mean, you get less engagement from the replays, but you get a lot of views and a lot of reach. And so we kind of now, after this, we stopped boosting our live videos for the time being, and maybe go, okay, can we, I know, Jennifer, I think what you're working on is maybe we do a landing page for our live video show instead, that way we can control the environment a little bit better than just, here's $150 to boost this video, and it gets some numbers that really don't say a lot in the end. And so that's kind of what we found from this. So I would still recommend trying boosting a live video. I didn't know you were boosting them during the live on mobile. That's a cool little trick that I didn't know about, because I always wondered, like, how are we boosting it so fast? But I do think you should try it and see what you get from it. But do know that you're not going to get any additional engagement probably from boosting it. You're just going to get a little more views and get that brand awareness piece in it.
And kind of like how Erin says, I want to do all the things. I want all the money to do all the things. Like if it was an amazing magical world, I would boost just for awareness purposes more than anything. And then what we are going to start doing is creating a new landing page. That's what's in the works. And so we're going to start utilizing that and putting money behind that, driving people there. And so, which will be another lab experiment. And you guys will find out if that works or not. But that's what we do. Now, Erin, do you guys do anything with your live video boosting, anything like that you've found good success with?
Well, I did not know that trick. That mobile trick is money. If anyone watching this, if you tuned in, if that's the takeaway, that is genius. And I cannot wait to try it. I've always just done, I'll be honest, social advertising is my weakest component in my toolbox. I am constantly Googling. I am constantly like, WTF. It is definitely not my strong. I'm more content marketing. I'm social selling. But advertising wise, I lean on experts like you guys. That is not my wheelhouse. I'll be honest. I mean, I play around with my Facebook ads manager, and every single time I'm kind of scratching my head. So it's a beast.
Yeah, and if you ever need any help, the digital gal or Tony does ads. Those are the two people that we actually talk to. They're great. They're brilliant. They're phenomenal.
Okay. Yeah, it's a whole that's for sure.
Yeah, and then so Brad, he's said, I've had similar results when boosting a live video. I don't do it anymore. Mike said, no extra engagement on the boost of a live replay. It did increase awareness, but needing to drive them to a landing page. Yes, exactly. So and thank you so much for digging in super deep for that, Scott, because I think that's important. Now, Erin, I have a question as we switch to news.
Yeah.
Is Instagram your most used social platform? Because you go on live on Instagram all the time, right?
Yes, I do. Yeah. I've found that the difference between managing your personal brand versus managing your client's brand, if you're watching this, there is a massive chasm between running your personal footprint and running on behalf of a brand. I mean, it's almost two completely different animals. And what I've noticed for my personal growth is that I only started really investing in my own presence maybe about a year ago. For the last 10, 13 years now, since the beginning, I've been focused on brand marketing, managing other people's brands, platforms, communities. And what I found was that being an individual, particularly if you're working in social media and you're looking to boost your personal footprint alongside while you're managing all of your clients' footprints, it can feel a little overwhelming. It can feel like I just worked on social media all day for my clients. I'm getting paid for that. The last thing I want to do is invest more time, blood, sweat, and tears in my own personal page. Can I get an amen to that in the comments? Because that's how I felt forever. Until about a year ago when my book started blowing up and I realized, like, hey, people are looking for you. You got to show up. So what I found was the fastest way to find a strategy that worked for me personally while I was also spending time on my clients' profiles without living on social media and having zero real life, which is not the goal, right? What I found was helpful was I just picked one platform. And I know this is blasphemous to so many marketers, but I picked one platform, and on every single other social media platform, I said, come find me on Instagram. I just pointed everyone to Instagram. When I would do my podcast, I wouldn't say find me on all the socials. I would say find me on Instagram. When I give my presentations, at the bottom of my slides, I don't have my Twitter and my thing and all my icons. I just have Instagram icon, my Instagram handle. And when I committed to one platform, which is not for everyone. For me, my audience is a lot of MLMs, direct selling, a lot of entrepreneurs. They spend the most time on Instagram, my age group that I was targeting. So for me, I was fishing where the fish were. When I focused on just one platform and drove everyone else there and stopped just auto posting just to be everywhere, but not really cultivating community, my following exploded. My engagement exploded because I was removing one barrier of the follow, which is it's one thing to say, follow me. Okay. So they're saying yes, but then they're saying where. Now it's a second layer. They have to like decide on their own where to go versus you just telling them exactly where you are. So yes, I spend most time on Instagram. I also fight having too much screen time. So I set timers on my phone so that I can't spend more. This is like sick to admit online, but I don't want to spend more than 2 hours a day on social media. So once my 2 hours is up, it's done. And so what that does is gives me a little bit of urgency. If you ever find yourself like, oh my God, I'm in this pandemic, spending way too much time on social media. We know used intentionally and strategically, it can grow your business. It can help you stay inspired. It can help you stay connected. We also know without a clear plan and without an urgency to get shit done for work while you're on there and not just going down the black rabbit hole of the Insta scroll, it can also have some negative effects as well. So that's how I've been keeping it in check. Long answer, yes, Instagram for this gal.
Oh my God, Erin, I love you.
I think it's great though. I think it's okay to say this is this is my house over here. Yeah, I have this side property, over here. I don't go there very often, but this is my place. I think that's okay. Or you could do something I've seen other people do. Like you could do like a website, erinkingsocial.com. And you have links to all your stuff and they can just choose which one to go follow you on. But I think that's fine.
I just find it's really hard to but it's individual preference. Like there's this thing called ClassPass back in the day before a pandemic, where you could go to all these different gyms, right? And everyone loves ClassPass. I didn't like ClassPass. I like Orange Theory Fitness. I like to commit to my gym. I like to see Deb on treadmill 2. I like to see housewife homegirl down here on treadmill 1. And I build those relationships. And I just think it's a lot harder to build real relationships when you're bopping around to all these different bars and restaurants and gyms, pre-pandemic example. And so for me, when I was just in one place showing up consistently, I found that I was building maybe not as much reach, but I was building I would start to see the same names. You start to recognize your power players and recognize your advocates. And it was a lot easier to see also what was working when you only have that one test group. Again, that's for an individual. If you're a brand, obviously you have to be, in more than one place, depending on where your customers and your clients are. But Instagram, unfortunately, I love and hate it though. I swear I'm in a full battle with Instagram right now. We are in a full on fight. I mean, I posted on my story the other day, I said, how many of you have seen this in your feed? And I had 85% of my story people saying, nope. So it's definitely, I'm right now, as Brian said in the comments earlier, I am retweaking my paid strategy on Instagram big time because it is becoming pay to play. Just like Facebook organic reach dipped, it is becoming even worse. And it's tough when you run your whole business and your whole tribe on this space. And so it's part of, we sell our souls to be able to use these platforms for free. And it's just part of the deal. But it's definitely, I think that it's been harder to find eyeballs on live, especially. I'm sure you've noticed you go on your phone now and every single live is lit up. It's like, Nana, are you live too? Like everyone's live.
And now you've got rooms, so it'll be even worse. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. So
Exactly. And so the reason why I asked you, Erin, because I knew the answer was Instagram, because I know I'm sure you're excited about this. And if you haven't heard about it, Instagram officially announced they've been slowly rolling it out, but you can now save your Instagram Live and push it to IGTV. So before you could download it and kind of use it wherever you wanted to, but now it gives you that option to be able to do it immediately. So you can now save the video of your Instagram Live broadcast to IGTV, which I would say saves you some decent time, right? And is something really cool and really exciting for you. So I had to talk about that because I think it's awesome. Instagram tweeted about this yesterday morning. And so it's something awesome, especially for those of us that are going live multiple times a week. And I think, Erin, you go live every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Right. Yes.
Yep.
So this is going to be a huge.
Only during the pandemic. Let's not have my let's chill out with like the crown of glory here. I mean, it's only because I'm bored and I'm at home and I want to talk to my friends on the internet. So it's a very selfish broadcast. But yes, every day at 5.
And so, and you know what? And so yeah, and I'm glad you do. And you guys need to follow her on Instagram and join her lives because they're amazing. Now, this is something cool and maybe something that even if you're not the biggest LinkedIn fan, you may want to check out. So LinkedIn announced basically a bringing together of LinkedIn events and LinkedIn Live video. You can now go live in a LinkedIn event. You can create an event. So let's say if you're releasing a new book, or you have something else going on, a new product, some kind of service you're selling, you can actually create an event for that and go live in that particular specific event, which I think is really cool because it can help many organizations drive reach, drive brand awareness, help build their audiences. It's really something neat. And along with that, one of our good friends of Agorapulse and the show, she created a great article. She wrote this up this week and published it on May 12th, Stephanie Liu. And she basically talks about LinkedIn events, what they are, how you can create a LinkedIn event, what the process is. And she breaks it down to you so specific. So if you don't know anything at all about them, you're going to find the answer here, become a pro. And then she tells you how you can go live in your LinkedIn event, which is so cool. And so I know there's so many places to go live, so many places to do different things, but LinkedIn is it's a very interesting place. And I'm still diving back into it too, because, I used to just use it for job searching and whatever. And actually I used to publish a lot on there. I take that back. When I was a meteorologist, I used to publish a lot. I think everyone kind of strayed away from it. And now I'm diving right back in because people get their news from there. It's a phenomenal place to get business, especially if you're a B2B company. And so this is something awesome that we are definitely going to be testing out here at Agorapulse with a variety of different things. And so I think it could be something cool that you can do to help grow your community. Whether you're just starting a business from scratch right now, you're finding a passion and you're like, let's do this, and you're totally pivoting, or you have a current business that you're trying to rally around and save. I think this could be a really powerful tool for basically just about everyone out there. So I don't know about you guys feel, Erin and Scott, but I think this is something neat that I'm excited to try and test out.
I think the LinkedIn event that I was on the Social Chef show yesterday, and we talked about this a lot because they're big. Christian and Jim are big LinkedIn guys. But the event thing is kind of interesting because you can almost use, if you have LinkedIn Live, which not everybody does. I think Agorapulse, we finally got it. But you could use that link. Yeah, you're there now. If you're on LinkedIn, say hi. But you can use that LinkedIn event almost in place in somewhat of like a webinar or like a summit of some sort. You could run it right there inside that event because you can even make a paywall with LinkedIn events as well. So there's some cool things you could do with that technology, and especially if your niche is more on the B2B side, I think you could do a lot of stuff over there that you can't do elsewhere with this integration for sure. And I think StreamYard, there's only a couple of them that'll go with it. StreamYard, Restream, and a few other ones that I hadn't heard of before that are automatically set up to go ahead and do it immediately.
Yeah, which is so cool. And StreamYard, we use StreamYard for this show, which I love because it makes it so easy to pop on comments, do the lower third, integrate your graphics, and personalize it to your brand. So Yeah, if anyone's trying anything. Stephanie Lou, I see you. You just joined. We just gave you a shout out. You must have heard us somehow about your article with LinkedIn events and also the integration into LinkedIn Live, which I think is fantastic. And last but not least, a lot of people have been talking about basically the new Facebook layout design, dark mode. I want to know, does anybody have it? Has anybody switched? Do you like dark mode? Erin, I want to know, do you like dark mode? Do you have access? What is your preference?
You know, I like to keep it in the light. You know, these days are dark enough. I like to keep it towards the light and the hope. I keep it light myself personally.
Yeah, and so Scott doesn't have the new layout yet. I don't either, but I'm wondering actually if our show producer does, or Stephanie. Stephanie, do you have the new layout? Do you like the new layout?
Mike, I choose the dark side. Yeah.
I'm with you.
So I was not a dark person either, Erin, and I got pressured into it, and now I kind of can't go back.
Okay.
Like once you go dark, you can't go back.
Well, I've heard that before in different contexts, so I'll give it a whirl.
Family show.
No, it is. It's funny because I'm like, well, wait a minute, this looks different. I feel like things pop more, but it took adjusting. Like for probably 2 to 3 days, I was just like, no, and then I was like, yeah.
Okay, I'll give it a whirl. Sold.
Yeah.
Sold
Yeah. So I want to know, Mike chooses dark. Yeah, we want to know, you guys, if you want to choose light mode or dark mode, what is your preference? Now, with that said, all right, Erin, are you excited for a little trivia? Scott, are you excited for trivia?
We need trivia music. Dun, 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 you know.
I know. So the exciting thing is, if you guys, whoever gets both of these answers correct, and there could be, a tiebreaker, you get an Agorapulse mug or an Agorapulse t-shirt. You get to choose. So, which is kind of really exciting, right? Who doesn't want just a little something fun, especially during this time, to lighten moods? So Omnicore had a great article about LinkedIn stats, and it's actually very interesting. We'll have to share it at a different time so we don't give away the answers. But the first trivia question is, and so Erin, you can tell us what you would think the answer to this is. So LinkedIn makes up what percentage of all social traffic to B2B websites and blogs? Is it 20%, B 30%, C 40%, or D 50%? Now, when you answer, make sure to answer 1, A or B or C or D. So I know that you're answering question 1. So when we go to question 2, I know that's what you're answering as well. So again, LinkedIn makes up what percentage of all social traffic to B2B websites and blogs? Now, Erin, something fun about this is I always give away the answer. But I was surprised by this sort of.
Were you surprised in a good way or a bad way?
I was just more shocked than anything. I didn't realize it was.
Yeah, to me, all of them seem really high. I mean, that's. I'm like, what? It's higher than like 5%. Yeah.
Is there an option to poll the audience? What do you guys think in the comments? Let's hear what everyone thinks in the comments. What's everyone's vote? I'm going to phone a friend I don't know yet.
I know. Yes. If Brian is still watching, I want to know what Brian would think since he's such a fan. But he may be.
Delina says D. Scott says A. What do you guys think? Let's hear.
Delina, I love your name, first of all. I love that you answered D.
Yeah, you just gave it away.
I know. How do you know that? So Scott is also.
Hey.
Yeah, I know. We love you, Delina. Way to go.
Wild cards in here. Jeez Louise. All right. Okay. Well, so it's obviously D.
Yes, I'm surprised, aren't you?
Yes, I'm shocked. I would have never guessed. I was going to guess B.
Yes.
I love that you gave us the answer so we can get a fun mug.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Well, somebody after the fact will get one.
That's shocking. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was really surprised by that too, because I didn't realize how powerful it was. So just talking about, and why I did LinkedIn trivia today is because of the LinkedIn events, that people don't realize the true power of that platform. If they're a B2B company, it may be something they want to look into.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was very interesting. All right, guys, question number 2. It is again LinkedIn. This may be shocking, maybe not. I don't know. But based on Omnicore's article, out of more than 675 million LinkedIn users, how many actually share content on a weekly basis? Is it A, 3 million, B, 23 million, C, 155 million, or D, 175 million? Now, looking at this, though, they're all like around 20% or less, which means this is a potential opportunity that if you haven't thought about utilizing LinkedIn yet, you may want to do it because not everyone is really fully utilizing it. Yes, they maybe have an account, but are they doing anything on that account? So it may be an area of opportunity because this is all like 20% or below. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not going to say
I was
anything.
just trying to figure out the percentages with my calculator. I'm like, what percent? Like, these are really big numbers. I'm like, I was an English major, so math is not my strong suit. I'm trying to like frantically. Okay, so that's basically, so it's all less than 20%.
All of it. Yeah.
Angela said 2A. Yeah. So what are you guys thinking? Well, yeah, I think it's less than 20%. That was my math on the fly, guys. Yeah. Approximately 20% or less. Everyone's listening to me, guys. Guys, I'm not talking anymore. I'm not saying anything. I'm done. Yeah. I see my producer. What you guys can't see is we can all see each other on camera behind the scenes. And I'm seeing Mike right now shaking his head, who's my boss, by the way. So I'm not saying a word.
Okay, so
You're doing a great job. Really, keep up the good work.
Okay, so let's see I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm gonna like my first reaction, like when you're in school and you're supposed to actually just whatever your first reaction is, sadly, I'm gonna go A. I just feel like from my experience, it's a very voyeuristic platform more than a participatory one. So I'm gonna say the lowest. I hate to be the LinkedIn troll hater here of the show, but I don't know.
No,
We're getting
honesty
a lot
is
of answers
great.
here
We
too.
love honesty. That's what we want. We don't want everyone to be like, we love every platform. We love to know what works for people and what doesn't work for people. And I think people learn from that too. So
Angela says A too. Oh, everyone's agreeing with me. Juan, Angela. All right. Delina. Everyone's saying A. We're all on the same team except for Mike. Mike says C.
Yeah, Mike says C. I'm not going to say a word.
Okay.
I still want to say something, but I'm not. So anyway,
you
I still want to give it away.
You can't do that. That's totally illegal.
I know, I'm not going to say anything. Oh, but with that said, so you guys did really good answers. I'm just going to say that.
Brian says, I love all platforms. Brian,
yeah, Brian's everywhere he loves. He has enough time to do that. But anyway, so you guys, thank you so much.
Wait, what was the answer?
We wait for the.
She's not supposed to give the answer. That's what she's not supposed.
Well, you're supposed to give the answer. Why?
She can tell.
I will tell you after at the show. After we end the show, I will tell you the answer.
This is so. I'm devastated.
I know. I'll wait 24 hours. No, you'll get to know in a couple of seconds.
Okay.
Yes. But with that said, I just want. First of all, I want to thank Scott, our content scientist, for jumping on. Scott, please tell us where people can find your awesome, amazing experiments and listen to the podcast and all those good things.
Yeah, just you run over to a quick URL, agorapulselab.com. We'll take you right over to our blog, and you can listen to all of our podcasts on each blog, or wherever you listen to podcasts, just search for Social Media Lab.
Awesome. That's perfect. Big shout out to our show sponsor, Mike Gingrich, who is amazing. Don't forget to follow him everywhere at Mike_Gingrich. Mike, you're so awesome. Seriously, everyone, let's give him a round of applause. He's amazing. Check out his new book as well. And last but not least, Erin. So Erin, give us a quick 30-second. You just started the social media spa. Yeah, and it sounds really relaxing. I think everyone wants to go to the spa right now and get a refresh, but this is for social media. Can you just quick tell us a little bit about this in like 30 seconds?
Well, I do a lot of in-person workshops prior to all this madness. And so my workshop's usually about a half day, 3 hours. And we just go through and we clarify your strategy. We talk about kind of your story, your audience, your why. And then the second step of my spa experience is we detox bad behaviors. So we rewrite lethal language. We sort of examine some of the limiting beliefs that are maybe holding you back psychologically from showing up as your best self online. And then we talk about some of the retiring some tired tactics that worked maybe a year or two ago, but are kind of sleepy now that everyone started to use them. And then the final step is we refresh your content. So we rewrite your narratives, we rewrite all your stories. We talk about how you can elevate your messaging, how you can rock your posts, your stories, your lives, how you can do little pivots to kind of refresh your overall footprint. So socialmediaspa.com is the URL, and I have lots of stories and fun. The whole thing takes about the length of a Netflix movie. to get through. And we have awesome, beautiful worksheets and handouts and exercises you can share with your team. So if you head over to thesocialmediaspa.com and you use the code Agorapulse in the next 5 days, you will get 50% off the price of admission to the spa. So,
oh my God, I saw Hartman and he just walked out.
he just
This
put
is done.
plugged my computer in.
Oh my God, I'm devastated right now.
I'm just
You
glad
guys,
he had
Hartman-
pants on.
Which is surprising. This is the first pants I've seen in months. So you're welcome. You're welcome.
Hartman is amazing. Oh my God. And you guys follow Erin at mrs.erin.king on Instagram, and also Digital Persuasion. You can buy that on Amazon. So yes. So Erin, thank you so much for being on the show. Scott, thank you for sharing your knowledge. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Now, there's one last thing we want to share with you wow, look at our producer. He's trying to guess what I'm about to say next. And I love that. So let's talk about Justin Stout, who's going to be on our show next Friday at 2:00 Eastern. He's amazing. He's awesome with content creation, strategy, everything else. He's going to be sharing his top tools with us next week on Social Pulse Weekly at 2:00 Eastern. Also, make sure to join our Facebook group, our new one, Social Pulse Community, where we have a special live show every Tuesday called Lunch and Learns, and that's going to be at 1:00 Eastern. And last but not least, we want to help you guys out during this time. And so what Agorapulse is doing, we do have the Social Media Manager School, but a lot of people are finding extra time on their hands, or they're wanting to dive into a new career, potentially in marketing, social media. So we're offering our Social Media Manager School for free for 8 weeks for anybody who wants it. And you have the rest of May to sign up. Now, the day you sign up is when your 8 weeks starts. So you have until May 31st to sign up, and that's when your 8 weeks will start. So definitely do that. There's so many different courses, different things you can look at and take. And it's just something that we want to do for you to help you just kind of hone your skills, learn new skills, do whatever you need. And if you ever need Agorapulse for any reason at all whatsoever, we are here for you. We can help you. We can help solve a problem. We just want to be there for you guys and provide as much support as possible. So with all that said, thank you guys so much, and happy Friday. Make it a great, safe weekend. And we love you guys, and hopefully we'll see you back next week. Bye, guys.